upset, so...
Yeah, that sounds kind of scary. So, this is after work? Oh, it's bright. Oh my god. Let's put that down.
Too much sunlight.
And that's my co-host. And let's see. It's about, what time is it right now? About 4?
5 o'clock.
No, that clock is wrong.
Oh, well then it's 4.
It's 4 o'clock. I still haven't adjusted my clocks yet because most of my clocks adjust themselves, so the ones that don't usually end up displaying the wrong time for a couple of months.
Because they're primitive trash.
Yeah, well, you know, just all the stuff I have to go through to reprogram this calculator watch makes me not want to do it right away. But yeah, I got out pretty much on time today, about 4 o'clock. Did you get out on time? You were done way earlier, weren't you?
Yeah.
What time did you get done with school?
11:45.
Oh, geez, you've been there for a while.
Yeah. I had some friends who were there, though, so it wasn't so bad.
When are you going to start doing the thing at the women's shelter?
It might be starting this week. It depends on whether the person in charge of it gets in contact with me.
So I've got a pretty busy week ahead. I've got the core course lecture tomorrow. I'm going to do my pain and symptom management thing. There's going to be 21 people there. 21 people in the audience. No idea how many of them are actually going to be licensed nurses. So I may have to tone down the technical jargon a little bit.
But all of them will have experienced pain.
That's true, and I plan to use that in the presentation. They have all experienced pain at some time in the past, and that will be relevant. That will be relevant to our conversation.
They all have nerve endings.
They all have nerve endings, yes. And then the day after that, I'm doing the same presentation at a nursing home, the same one I did the ethics one at. But they're giving me an hour this time instead of a half hour. But at that one too, you know, it was mostly nurses' aides and a couple of LPNs. But, you know, most of the licensed nurses, you know, as it is in any nursing home really, they're scrambling to do their documentation. They don't really have time to come and listen to somebody talk. But, you know, they had a couple of social workers there, and, you know, they know a lot of stuff about the ethics things that we were talking about, so. But I hope to provide sort of like a good overview of what pain is, who has it, and what can be done about it. That's going to be like my big 3. That's how I'm going to present it. And at the core course tomorrow, I just sort of mentioned to the executive director, oh, you know, after I do my piece, I'm going to have to go out and do visits. Is anybody recording it? Because I really want to hear the chaplain's speech, because I really like the chaplain. He was actually the same guy from that funeral. Oh,
yeah, he's good.
Yeah. I didn't realize he was a per diem chaplain with us until I walked into somebody's house and he was there. Like, oh, wow. So, it's the only time I've actually, like, gushed in a fanboy way to a reverend before. That was pretty interesting.
He is an excellent public speaker.
He is an excellent public speaker. So I'd be interested to, you know, hear his presentation, but I'm going to have to miss it because after I'm done, I got to go out and do my work. So as soon as I sent that email, she was like, oh, well, I'll ask about that. And then all of a sudden, I got another email back to everybody saying, oh, good news, everyone. We're going to record video of all of the presentations.
Neat.
So somebody else will have recorded mine. I'll record my own when I go to the nursing home, but we'll have some video of both of those. And this week, I must call upon your services.
Understood.
Because I have due, I think Thursday or Friday, I'll have to double check. I have to videotape an assessment of, I think it's mostly like head, ears, eyes, neck, and throat.
I have all of those things.
You do have all of those things. It should
attached to me, even.
It should be minimally invasive, but I have to look around in the basement. I think when you guys clean my room out, I think I lost a little black bag that has my otoscope and my ophthalmoscope in it. I bought one like way back when in nursing school, and I never once used it. And now I have to find it because I have an assignment due this week that requires that I have an otoscope and an ophthalmoscope and know how to use it. So I'm probably going to be like reading the lab manual for an evening and just like catch up on exactly what I'm supposed to do in the video. And then I'll ask you some questions. The thyroid part should be interesting because you actually do have a thyroid condition. And I think the fact that you have a thyroid condition requires me to auscultate your thyroid gland.
That'll be interesting.
Yes, I'm going to listen very closely to your thyroid gland and see if it's talking.
Screaming for help.
It's whispering any sweet nothings to the rest of your glands.
Let me out. I promise I won't do it again.
Yeah. But yeah, this would be a pretty non-invasive one. We'll have to do one of these every 2 weeks, so we'll do 3 or 4 altogether.
I will be here when you need me with all of my limbs attached.
Well, we're going to do our first one in week 3, so I think this is week 3 of the class out of 8. So I think we're going to do one on weeks 3, 5, and 7, and I think that'll be it. Well, I'm going to be doing everything at the last minute as usual. And then I sent my religious studies teacher, we had to pick what we want our term project to be on. And we could either write a 5 to 7 page paper on any kind of religious issue. And of course, predictably, my idea for that was the Native American Church and its legal status, what with the peyote and all. But rather than do a research paper, I thought it would be much more easy to visit a house of worship and write a 5 to 7 page paper on that, because that was the alternative.
And you can just visit a friend and then write 5 pages?
No, it's got to be like a church. It's
yeah,
like
but
a place.
Your friend working at a Unitarian church.
Right, I have a friend who's a member of the clergy. Well, I mean, not really a friend so much as an acquaintance, but somebody I'm on friendly terms with at least. And I think she's just finished seminary for Unitarian Universalism, so I guess there's a pretty famous and well-established congregation in our hometown, so I'll just go do that. And it looks like pretty easy stuff. It's like, how were you greeted? What did the services consist of? Was there any literature? How were people dressed? You know, and stuff like that. And the teacher posted a warning that if you go to a Jewish synagogue on the Sabbath, don't bring any paper or pencils with you. Don't bring a cell phone. You're not supposed to use any of that stuff. Just so you know.
Quick reminder.
You're not supposed to work or write anything down. Which I think is probably a pretty good cultural practice to have. But it could definitely catch a visitor unawares if they weren't aware that when you go to somebody's place of worship, you should turn your cell phone off. Because some people need to be reminded of those things. I mean, I don't even go to church, and I know that.
Yeah, I mean, if you turn your cell phone off for the movies, I think you generally turn your cell phone off for a church or synagogue.
Or a synagogue or whatever. There weren't any really interesting places to go around here, except maybe the Unitarian Church. I don't even know if that will be interesting. But the prospect of writing a 5 to 7 page paper about that rather than, some kind of research paper, I figure I'm going to have to write plenty of research papers as it is. No reason to overburden myself. Haven't done any of the assigned reading yet. I got a A on my first assignment in the health assessment class, even though I didn't read any of the books or anything. That seems to be the pattern in these classes. But after this one, I'm going to start taking 400s level classes, which I assume will provide some kind of challenge.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
I'm sure they wouldn't want to give you the degree without making you work for it a little.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, some of those private, for-profit colleges, they have a reputation for doing just that.
But
not
Sacred
this
Heart's
school.
Supposed to be pretty good, right?
Right. Yeah, this is a prestigious place to go to school. But I noticed some of the faculty members got their degrees from University of Phoenix, which has some really interesting stories told about it, like some of the people graduating from it don't have some of the basic competencies they're supposed to have, which is fine for the kind of self-directed learners that end up teaching in college. That's probably fine for them. But I would hate to think that they took any ideas about how online classes are supposed to be run from that institution, which doesn't really have a very good reputation about those kinds of things. And it's some of the things that I've kind of been noticing. It's easy to the point where you don't really need the readings or study at all to do any of it.
Well, hopefully that'll just be the prerequisite class.
And that might just be for me. I mean, a lot of my classmates seem to be struggling with some of the stuff, so it might just be because I've recently graduated from an academic program and I'm still in school mode. Maybe that's part of the reason why.
Or you're just smarter than them.
Yeah, that could be too. Do you have a wireless mouse?
No.
Do we have an extra wireless mouse? I saw Ryan was using one. Was that Mom's?
I don't know whose it is. We can ask about it, but it wasn't mine.
Okay. Because for the core course thing, they don't have a remote to advance the PowerPoint projector, so I figured I could just bring a wireless mouse and use that.
they've never had a Jedi come and lecture before.
Well, they're about to.
Excellent.
So working in all of my regular caseload visits with these presentations is going to be challenging, because I still have to like see people and do this at the same time. Not at the same time, but in the same day. And I dodged a bullet today. The quality manager told me that he wanted to come along with me on a visit today. And like today's just such not a good day for it. I mean, all my patients were people I'd never seen before, and my car's a mess, and all this other stuff. So we're gonna regroup and do it Wednesday. So that gives me some time to put all that stuff together. I should really take my car in to be looked at, because my check engine light is on, and I keep putting it off.
It would sort of look bad if your car broke down in the middle of the quality check.
Yeah, that would look bad.
This usually doesn't happen.
Yeah, this very rarely ever happens.
Like once a month tops.
But then maybe while I'm doing that, I can get the car detailed too. Because I don't think this car's never been detailed. You can see I tried to clean off all of this stuff. It's a little cleaner than usual. But it would be nice to get like all the shampoos carpeted. The shampoo's carpeted. Let's get all the shampoo carpeted. Get all the carpets shampooed.
It's long been my dream to carpet a shampoo.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
You ever see that episode of Tom Goes to the Mayor? You ever watch Tom Goes to the Mayor?
No.
No, there's like an episode where the main character gets this like pyramid scheme door-to-door like salesmanship gig where it's like some big toxic machine that you can spray on carpeting onto any surface.
Ooh.
But it's like some kind of toxic foam chemical that releases poisonous gas when it's exposed to sunlight.
Must be great for making padded cells fast.
Yeah.
I mean, no sunlight because no windows.
Yeah. Well, he like carpets over a whole park and then everybody dies from poisoning or something.
That could happen to anyone.
It's by those same guys who do Tim and Eric. Tim and Eric, awesome show, great job. You ever see that one?
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes of that.
Yeah, this is like a weird lo-fi animation cartoon by those same people. It looks like the animation, like the cells or whatever, are just made by taking pictures of them and then like degrading their quality in Photoshop until they just look like line drawings, kind of. I don't know.
Because making line drawings would be too easy?
Yeah. It might be too hard. I feel like I'm finally getting into the workflow of working with a regular caseload.
Still charting as you go?
Still charting as I go. That experiment is working very well. As of right now, today, I've got no more paperwork to do. So
excellent.
That is a good thing. That'll give me some time to look over my homework assignments for the week and maybe do a little reading for school. What else do I have to do? What else? I think, tonight I'm going to read over my PowerPoint a few more times because I guess that's kind of how I prepare. Like just sort of like mentally rehearsing and imagining what I'm going to say while I'm reading the PowerPoint.
I do that a lot.
The first presentation I gave, they told me, since I didn't do a PowerPoint, they told me I had to write out ahead of time what I was going to say. But for somebody who speaks extemporaneously, this is like a really unreasonable thing to ask you to do, So I agonized over it for a couple of days, put it off until the last minute, so, it's my usual MO, no difference there. But I just started imagining what I would say. I imagined myself in a room full of people, and I opened my mouth, and these were the words that came out, and I just typed for, a couple of pages. And the community liaison, who just got elected to the New London Main Street Board of something or other, which is kind of nice, she said that was way too much. I'd over-prepared, so that's fine. But it was like a Herculean effort to do that,
They probably just wanted an outline of the topics you'd cover.
Right, but I didn't even know what that was going to be, Like I had like a vague idea of what I would say. And then I put in the parts where I would invite discussion or ask people questions, or when I would refer to one of the case studies. That was, I think, one of the failings of this one that I'm going to do tomorrow, too. I did prepare a case study, but it wasn't really about pain management. It was about elder abuse. Because one of the points I'm going to make early on is that failing to provide adequate pain management for someone is abusive, whether they're elderly or not. and a particular case study where this was brought to trial, and it was determined that yes, this was abusive. In brief, it was somebody who came into the hospital with intractable back pain, reported 7 to 9 out of 10 pain every day for 6 days during a hospital stay, and then at the end it was 10 out of 10 every time somebody asked him. They discharged him back to home, still with 10 out of 10 pain, and he died 4 days later. And the hospital claimed that they followed all of their usual protocols, but their own documentation showed that this person had intense intractable pain that they let him out of the hospital without relieving it. I mean, that's the big thing. It's at least worthwhile to keep them in the hospital at least until their pain is under control. And this was found to be abusive in California because they had this law passed in sometime in the 90s called the Elder Abuse Control and Civil Protection Act, or something like that. It was some long name. But at the time, in the 90s, most of the states did not have laws like that standardized how elder abuse was screened for and reported and responded to. Not all the states had laws for doing that. Now, in 2010, there's a law passed by Obama called I think it's called the Elder Justice Act, that standardizes the way elder abuse is reported and documented across the country. But it's unfunded. There's like no money attached to it, But it kind of lays some of the groundwork of what a national system of that sort would look like.
If it had funding, and thus existed.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're guidelines that the states can be held accountable to. You know, like I guess the states are expected to implement these things on their own. But since they haven't been able to implement them on their own or agree on a common way to do it, that has been provided for them by the federal government, There's other parts of it too. It's not just about elder abuse reporting, but there's like other parts of it too. I've never had to wait so long in front of my own driveway. Look, here comes a school bus.
Oh, God.
I'd be lucky if, oh, no, they're going up the street. Okay.
Thank goodness for our street's lack of children.
Yeah, they're mostly up that way. There we go. I guess I'll just hang out right here.
Yeah. So
I guess the plumber and the electrician are here at the same time, huh?
Yeah, it's a perfect storm.
Hopefully they don't get in each other's way.
Thanks for that.
No problem.